Hi, I'm Phil Hall and welcome to this digital photo video tutorial. In this video I'm going to show you the best way to convert your images to black and white using the power of RAW. I'm going to show you three methods, and this first one will look at how to do it using element 6. I'll then show you how to convert to black and white using CS, CS2 and CS3, with separate videos for each as they all have slightly different methods. But first let's take a look at converting to mono using element 6. If you're using earlier versions of Elements, many of the main principles remain the same, though some of the sliders aren't available. So, open up your start image and we can begin. So, as soon as you open up your RAW file, you're greeted with this interface of Elements 6's RAW converter. So, as you can see, we've got a selection of sliders along the side here, and we've got our colour image with some nice beach huts here. But I think they look pretty good in black and white, so I want to convert them to mono. Now I could do that once I'm in Elements, but I've got a lot more control if I do it in the RAW converter. So the first thing I'm going to do is skip out all of these sliders to begin with and go all the way down to the saturation slider, and this is where I'm going to remove the colour from the image. So I'm just going to click on it and drag it all the way to the left until it reads -100. So that's knocked out the colour, but it's not looking that great. It's looking pretty flat and pretty dull. So I can control the look of this mono image now with these other sliders here, and I'm going to run through what you can do. I'm going to go all the way back up to the top and take a look at the temperature slider. Now you may think we only use the temperature slider to control the white balance of a colour image, but it also has its place when we are using a sort of a mono image, or we're going for a mono look. So if I just drag it to the left, you can see it has an effect on the tonality of the image. So you can drag it through and it does change the whole look of our shot. So toggle through the slider until you come across sort of a tonality that you're happy with. I'm going to go for around about 4400 for now. I'm going to leave it there. Again, with the tint slider, predominantly it's used for colour, but we can control our mono image and fine tune the tonality with this tint slider. So as you see, if I drag it through, again, it has a global effect on our shot. So again, you're using your own image. You want to go through here and come across something that suits you, but I'm going to settle on about +86 for this shot that we're using here. Okay, so we're starting to get a little bit better. So I'm going to move down to the exposure slider because it's looking a little bit dark at the moment. So I'm just going to increase the exposure to about +0.25. So that's just lightened it a touch. If you're worried about blow and highlights in your shot, you can hit O on your keyboard, and if you've got any blow and highlights, that will display the highlight clipping warning. They'll be shown in red blotches on your shot, but luckily for us, we're alright. We seem to have maintained detail in the highlights, so we're not going to have to use the recovery slider this time. I'm going to move down to fill light now, and again, if you're worried about losing detail in the shadows this time, you can hit U on your keyboard, and that will display the shadow clipping warning. So, and that's displayed by those little blue blotches there on the shot, if you can see them. So we've got a little bit of detail lost there, so we can just bring that back with the fill light slider. I'm just going to drag it to the right until it reads round about 20. So we've almost got rid of it, and it's made quite a difference. But I don't want to drag it too far, because if I drag it too far, it looks pretty horrible. So I'm just going to drag it back to 20 there. We still need to add a bit more bite, however, so I'm going to go down to brightness. I'm going to leave blacks alone, because if I just increase it there, we're just losing shadow detail again. So I'm going to leave it on 5 or 6 as it was and go down to brightness. So brightness, I'm going to just increase a tad. I'm going to just knock it up a little bit. Around about 63 is good. Now contrast, I'm really going to crank up. I'm going to hit it at +80, I think. It's quite a lot, but it's making the right kind of changes to our shot. Finally, there's clarity. Now this is, I think, unique to element 6's RAW converter, and then this boosts contrast in the midtones, which is quite a handy slider. So I'm going to be quite aggressive with it and drag it all the way across to the other side to about 90. As you can see, the shot's looking really good now, and this is all thanks to these sliders here. If I was to increase the saturation to how it was before, it looks pretty horrible. But as we're not worried about the colour shot, we're only worried about the mono image, we've used these sliders here to their full advantage. So, that's how to convert your raw files to mono using Element 6. As you can see, you can produce some great black and white results. However, if you're using a full version of Photoshop, even more controllers at your fingertips. There are 2 other videos on this month's CD, where I show you how to do this in CS2 and finally CS3. So, I hope to see you shortly, and I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial. Cheers!